Hey class, it's Elliot. We're going to be covering Module 4, 3.1 of the challenges. So here we go. All right. First, we are asked to add up all these list elements from a number that they're passing in, or a list of numbers that they're passing in. As you can see here, it's 3 negative 2s. And then I want you to add that up to output a sum of negative 6. So let's go over here. And so this is what they're passing in, and this, just to be clear, they're splitting the list by the commas. So it's negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, separate values there. And so what we want to do is let's create a variable called total. This can be anything, and then we'll do a loop for I in numbers, and then we're going to use this variable we just created and create a new one to loop back through, bring in the integer I, which is the negative 2, so it will loop back through. So this will be 0 plus negative 2 plus negative 2 plus negative 2, which will give you negative 6 when you print it, like that. So that's how you do 3.1. Okay, let's clear this out. And let's go back here. Okay, this is 3.2, and let's see, we're going to need to go and modify the original code. That original code is going to be this, modified a little bit, removing the split. We're going to make it an integer coming in because that's how they're passing it in. And okay, now that's the problem. So they're saying they're going to provide us with a number n, and that number is 8. And then we'll create a list using a loop, and we'll populate the list with 8 elements. And we'll set each of those elements to the index multiplied by 10. Okay, so just to be clear that the range in the list is going to be 8, so 0 through 70, which is 8 iterations, because it always starts at 0. All right, so got this right. So let's create a list. Oh, and one other thing. It says beware about passing the value 0, in which case you should return an empty list. So that's why we're making the list the default being empty, although we know it's not. Let's do a for loop. We're going to set the range. Like I said, it's 0 to n. At the time you're creating it, you don't know what it is, but we know it's 8. And then we're going to, in order to create new variables in the list, we're going to append those variables. So we will take I and then we'll multiply it by 10, and that will get us 10 new variables. I'm sorry, 8 new variables in increments of 10. And if you get that out, we'll just print the list. And then that should give you a result of 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. All right, now let's go to the next one. All right, so 3.3. Okay, this is an easy and short one. It's just saying we're going to create a new array of strings, and that should include a list with 3 elements. The first should be AAA, the second triple B, and triple C. So real simple here. Okay, we're going to delete all this stuff, create a new list, and so we're going to, since it's a string, it needs to be A, and you separate the list by adding in a comma. So there's B, comma, C. And then that's it. You print the list. Done. And that should give you an output of this output. A, UV. I mean, it's basically what you. So okay. Now let's go to 3.4. Okay, so what they're asking us to do is we're going to loop through and find a certain number that they give us. So they're giving us 2 inputs. One is a listed number, and the other is an actual number to look for. They just don't Um, so they're saying if n is not found in the list, then we're gonna output -1. Okay. All right. So what we need to do is go get rid of this, and then so this is a given, right? And the first part, this is the actual variable that the number they're passing in, and here, creating a list, an empty list like we did in the last one, and they're putting in a loop. So for I in uh, this particular value, we're going to split it if there's a comma, and then so that creates the list. And then if I is an actual digit, that's what this is digit means. If it's a digit, then within the numbers list, we're going to append the integer I, and it just loops through, and so it populates this list with everything that is a digit. So now what we want to do is we want to create an index counter for the loop, or for the while loop, which we're going to create here in a second. All right, so index equals 0. And we're going to create a check to break out early once we find it, which is going to be found equals false. All right, and then we want to create a while loop. So we want to loop until we find the value or we run out of numbers. So say while, say not found, so not false, and the index is less than the length of the number of items. And we're going to say if list numbers, if the index is not equal to n, then we're going to say, all right, found equals true. All right, and so this is saying yes, we're done. We can move on, but if not, we want to say else. Index should go to the next one. So index plus 1. So if we didn't find it, then no, we're going to move along to the next index. Okay? And the second part of this is if not found, the loop find it. This is the part where we're gonna output -1. I'm gonna say print string -1. Nope. Okay. Else we're gonna print out. Whoops. Print the index. Okay, and so what this will do is this will output the number that they passed in, which happens to be 3. Here's what the output actually looks like. Okay, so the input was, the list was 1 through 11, 42, 12, and 42, 10. N was 3, and then so it went through the loop until it found it, which it would find in the second item of the list. So I know that's a little, but that's kind of a long one, but very, very good. It teaches a lot of things. So now let's